What if I told you this isn't dessert? It's engineering, precision, obsession. Imagine biting into a cloud, warm, sweet, and gone before your brain even registers the chew. That's not magic. That's Krispy Kreme. But here's the kicker. One Krispy Kreme location can crank out 72,000 donuts a day. That's enough to sugar shock an entire town, twice. From a top-secret dough recipe to the glowing "Hot Now" sign that has people making U-turns off the freeway. This is the science, story, and slightly chaotic cult behind one of the most engineered guilty pleasures in the world. Oh, and that "Hot Now" sign? It has its own fan base. People plan road trips around it. Somewhere out there, someone just canceled their meeting to chase it. Priorities. The rise of a glazed empire. A secret recipe, a borrowed kitchen, and the smell that launched a cult. In 1937, Vernon Rudolph bought a yeast-raised donut formula from a French chef in New Orleans. No logo, no storefront, just dough, fried in the back room and sold to local groceries. But then the scent started leaking into the streets. People knocked. Can we just buy one, right now? So Vernon cracked open a window. Just like that, Krispy Kreme went from ghost kitchen to sugar-slicked legend. Today, it's a global machine, 30-plus countries, millions of donuts, and fans who will detour miles for a glowing red light. That sign? It's not just branding, it's behavior control. There are drive-thrus designed around it. And yes, there's an app that pings you when the glaze hits prime temp. Because we now live in a world where donuts have push notifications. And honestly, we're okay with that. They don't hide the magic, they showcase it. Many shops include what they call a donut theater. Part bakery, part Willy Wonka. Watch it rise, watch it fry, watch it vanish into your mouth in 2 bites flat. But here's the real question. Is Krispy Kreme peak perfection or just perfectly engineered? Because when something feels like biting into a sugar-scented cloud, you don't always ask how it got there. Maybe that's the point. In a world chasing authenticity, Krispy Kreme proves that sometimes consistency is the craft. Mixing the dough. Here's a twist you probably didn't expect. The Krispy Kreme donut you just inhaled in 2 bites? That thing started in a stainless steel mixer, spinning for exactly 14 minutes. Not 13, not 15, 14. Why? Because timing here isn't a suggestion, it's gospel. That's how they control every batch in every store around the globe. From North Carolina to New Zealand, the same swirl, the same result. The base? A top-secret blend of flour, sugar, water, and yeast. No, we don't know what's in it. And no, they're not telling. Even employees joke that if you learn the full formula, you disappear. But this isn't cake batter. The yeast is what sets Krispy Kreme apart. It breathes life into the dough, literally. It expands, ferments, and makes the dough feel lighter than air. Some say it's fluffier than Dunkin'. Others argue that's just clever branding. Honestly, watching this dough spin is oddly hypnotic. Makes me wonder if I've been underestimating industrial mixers my whole life. Also makes me crave one of those mini glazed ones, the ones that disappear before you even taste them. The dough's ready, and the real transformation? It's just getting started. Resting and kneading. 87 degrees Fahrenheit. Not the temperature outside, not your morning coffee, but the exact heat your Krispy Kreme dough needs to become a cloud. Because here's the catch. If the dough's too cold, it won't rise. Too hot? You kill the yeast and say goodbye to that melt-in-your-mouth texture. So once the mixing's done, the dough is kneaded and gently brought to that precise sweet spot. 87 degrees Fahrenheit. Not a degree more. Imagine a masseuse with a thermometer and a stopwatch. That's basically what's happening here. Then comes the pause. 10 full minutes of resting inside a hopper. But this isn't just a break, it's strategy. This rest time allows the gluten to relax and the yeast to kick into gear, starting its quiet fermentation mission. It's kind of poetic, actually. The dough just sits there, doing absolutely nothing, and somehow becomes more valuable with every passing second. I mean, if that's not a metaphor for adulting, I don't know what is. Donut shaping. Here's something that might surprise you. At Krispy Kreme, no one punches out a donut hole, because there are no donut holes to begin with. Instead of cutting the classic ring shape and tossing the center aside, like most bakeries do, Krispy Kreme uses air pressure to mold the entire ring in one clean, continuous press. No scraps, no waste, no sad little munchkin left behind. The dough enters a pressurized chamber, and then, boom! Compressed air forces it down through a ring-shaped cutter. It's fast, it's clean, and it's precise. Basically, it's a donut birth cannon, and it works. Personally, I kind of admire the engineering. It's like they decided that even the dough should be optimized for efficiency. But I'll admit, sometimes I do miss the excuse to grab a box of munchkins for the group. Proofing and frying. You wouldn't think humidity and patience are what make a donut irresistible, but this is where the magic really starts. Each Krispy Kreme ring enters a climate-controlled proofing box, a cozy, steamy chamber set to the perfect rise environment. Inside, yeast wakes up, stretches, and does its thing. 30 minutes, just enough to build that signature airlight bite. Rush it, and you get a dense bite. Wait too long, and the dough collapses under its own puffed-up ego. It's funny, Duncan takes a slightly warmer, shorter approach here. Then, it hits the oil. Each donut is fried for 2 minutes per side, just long enough to seal in that fluffy interior with a thin, crisp shell. The oil is kept hot and consistent. Too cold, and your donut's a sponge. Too hot, and it's a crunchy regret. This step separates a good donut from a grease trap. And let's be real, if a donut leaves your fingers oilier than your forehead at 3 p.m., that's a red flag. Out of the fryer, they're soft, golden, and seconds away from their sugary destiny. Honestly, if they handed them out right now, without glaze, I'd still take 2. Just saying. Glazing. Here it is, the moment that turns fried dough into legend. No joke. People have stood outside Krispy Kreme stores just to see this. The glaze waterfall. It's not a gimmick, it's a ritual. As freshly fried rings ride the conveyor, they pass under a cascading curtain of warm, liquid sugar. Set precisely between 118 and 120 degrees Fahrenheit, the glaze coats each donut with surgical consistency. Not too thick, not too runny, just the right cling to create that whisper-thin shell. It cools in seconds, forming a delicate crisp that gives way to a center so soft, it barely resists your bite. People call it sweet air, and honestly, that's not even an exaggeration. It's mesmerizing, right? Like watching slow sugar choreography. And if you've ever wondered why Krispy Kreme's glaze tastes different, it's because they glaze while the donuts are still warm. That's the trick. Heat meets sugar, sugar sets, flavor locks in. And just like that, the donut becomes iconic. Cooling and finishing. What if I told you the most underrated part of a Krispy Kreme donut is silence? After all that noise, kneading, frying, glazing, this is the moment things settle. Literally. Fresh off the glaze waterfall, each donut glides onto a cooling belt. No fans, no flash, just time. Here, the heat drops, the glaze hardens into that signature satin shell, and the inside stays marshmallow soft. Think of it like a donut meditation session. No rushing, just pure transformation. And this is where the donut universe branches off. Do you go classic, or do you want drama? Chocolate dips, stripes, sprinkles, or cream-filled surprises? Comment your opinion, we'd love to hear. Because once cool, this is when the variants come alive. Chocolate glaze is poured on, stripes are zigzagged, fillings are injected with almost surgical precision. Honestly, this step feels like a makeover montage in a rom-com. Except instead of mascara, it's molten chocolate. And if I had to choose between a date and a Boston cream at this point, I'd need a minute. Packaging and global distribution. Here's a hot take. That Krispy Kreme box might just be the most powerful marketing tool ever invented. Because the moment it opens, boom, you're hit with warm sugar, soft dough, and the kind of joy that turns grown adults into kids. After cooling, the donuts are boxed up either by hand or with the help of semi-automated machines, depending on the store's setup. The goal? Speed, precision, and most importantly, freshness. Most Krispy Kreme donuts are sold within hours of being made. No preservatives, no delays. That's why the hot light isn't just a gimmick, it's a signal. When it's on, you're not getting yesterday's leftovers. But here's the twist. Not all Krispy Kremes are made in-store. Behind the scenes, there's a global network of production hubs churning out donuts for grocery stores, convenience chains, and delivery partners. These donuts follow a similar method, but with one extra step, they're often frozen or sealed for transport, designed to last longer without sacrificing too much on texture or taste. Now, I know some purists would say, if it's not hot off the line, it's not real Krispy Kreme. Fair argument. But let's be honest, when you're holding a maple glazed in your hand at 2 a.m. from a gas station in the middle of nowhere, it still hits. From a secret recipe in the 1930s to a conveyor belt of 72,000 donuts a day, Krispy Kreme isn't just a donut. It's a system built on precision, pressure, and perfect proofing. So tell us, where do you stand? Hot Light loyalist or grocery aisle loyalist? Drop your take in the comments. You know we read them. We've got more food stories on the way, from breakfast icons to midnight snacks and everything in between. So if you're into the kind of content that makes you hungry and smarter, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Next episode, let's just say, the rivalry is about to get glazed.